Hello, this is your January installment of Walpole News Today. I'm your host, Jessica Kurgo.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Pete O'Farrell. The school committee has made what, for some, was a highly anticipated decision to rescind the school mask mandate at their February 10th meeting. Here's more from that discussion.
I'm grateful for the collaboration and hard work of both the nursing department and the health department. Together, we are all in agreement and make the recommendation to school committee to vote tonight to rescind the mask policy on the 28th. As always, any individual who wishes to continue to mask, including those who face a higher risk from COVID, must be supported in that choice. Of course, in alignment with the health department and DESE, we do recommend that unvaccinated students should continue to wear masks in school settings. Walpole Public Schools will continue with our mitigation strategies. This won't change. Along with DESE and DPH, we continue to urge all eligible individuals to receive the vaccine and booster. We'll continue with vaccination clinics. Other mitigations include participating in our COVID-19 testing program, maintaining good hand hygiene practices, and staying home when sick. At this time, we are awaiting additional guidance from the MIAA regarding masking for sports. Please note, the federal order requiring masks on school buses remains in effect. As such, the school committee does not have that authority to make masks optional on buses. Masks will still be required on our buses until further notice, and masks are also required at this time in any health office.
I'd like to make a motion to rescind the mask policy effective February 28th. With the exception of the high school that could go mask-free next week.
COVID-19 cases are declining in Walpole following what is assumed to be a post-holiday surge. At a recent Board of Health meeting, Public Health Director Melissa Ranieri explained more.
Definitely, we're seeing a decline in the case numbers. So as you can see, our positivity rate this past reporting period for the 14 days prior was still at a little over 20%, but gradually coming down. So we get our readings every Wednesday. So I anticipate this Wednesday to be obviously on the lower side. Even the cases that we're actively monitoring, we're monitoring about 30 cases now, where 2 weeks ago, we were monitoring close to 300-400 on, a daily basis.
The board later heard from 2 Norfolk County 8 epidemiologists who will be supporting the Walpole Health Department in the coming weeks. The Norfolk County 8 is a local health coalition comprised of the boards of health and health departments of 8 local towns, including Walpole. According to a June 2021 press release from the Norwood Superintendent of Public Health, the coalition received the grant from the Massachusetts Health Department as part of the Public Health Excellence Grant Program for Shared Services. The towns plan to use the award to expand regional public health services. Here's more.
My name is Rachel Brace, and I am the regional epidemiologist for the Norfolk County 8, which includes the towns of Canton, Dedham, Milton, Needham, Norwood, Walpole, Wellesley, and Westwood.
I think we're just super excited to have 2 epidemiologists on our team, because I think, like Trish and I, we can put in the work, but I think it's the different mindset. And also I think numbers speak, and I feel like having those nice charts and people can visualize, numbers better and rates. And again, even like Rachel said, delving even deeper, hopefully when we're done with COVID, it's just different rates, like mosquitoes, tick-borne illnesses, just other public health items that maybe we're scratching the surface of that we can get a little deeper in.
The Master Plan Steering Committee has begun the process of evaluating data and input pertaining to different areas of town development.
This is the next step in our process, doing the visioning, and when Judy and her team will come back to us with the summary of the existing conditions based on all the work that they did.
This is really, it's like the existing conditions assessment. This is who you are today and the different elements of the plan. And to the extent that we can kind of say, so how did you get to this point? We'll have another community forum to talk about goals for the elements of the plan, kind of present to people what we think the major findings are of that process, and then continue to work on, recommendations and so forth going into the summer.
The planning board meeting of January 20th included a continued hearing to allow an unoccupied house on Summer Street to be renovated and divided into 3 separate lots. The house currently isn't connected to a sewer, so a lengthy discussion ensued regarding whether or not the house has to be connected to a sewer before or after it's renovated. Here's more on that meeting.
Matt and Andrea Zucker of Brookline, Mass. Were present on behalf of her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lisoro.
If the house wasn't existing, we can approve it, but it would be called non-buildable. We could do that if the house didn't exist. Then at the time you want to go build on it, you'd have to put a sewer in there before you can get a building permit.
Mr. Conroy stated that because this is in the aquifer area, the house has to conform to zoning. Mr. Conroy moved to endorse an ANR for 260 Summer Street with the caveat that these lots are presently non-buildable and unmarketable until the sewer is brought to the lots and the house at 260 Summer Street is connected to sewer. The motion passed 4-0-0. The Planning Board continued a hearing on 130 West and 30 Spring Street. The attorney representing the applicant said they are working with the abutters. One requested payment for a fence in lieu of what they are going to do at the bottom of the hill. The Planning Board had several special conditions, and after the hearing was closed, the project was voted 4-0-0. During other business, the board discussed the Boyden Estates project. Lou Petrozzi of Walsh Street Development stated he doesn't agree with keeping 25% on a bond reduction.
Well, I disagree with the 25% requirement because that's really not what the regulations say. I'm willing to acquiesce to that provision tonight. But as you can see from the bond declaration that Kyle has prepared, there really is no physical work left to be done in the subdivision. And we would expect to submit another bond reduction request in the next 30 days.
Mr. Conroy moved to reduce the bond on Boyden Estates to $52,981, as recommended by the town engineer. The motion was voted 4-0-0. The board held a lengthy discussion regarding allowing public hearings to be held virtually. The chairperson argued that public hearings need to be held in person and that all board members should also be in person. Mr. Conroy made a motion to continue meetings as they've always done, which passed 3-1-0. Mr. Sharofsky made a motion to investigate ways that planning board members could participate remotely. This carried 4-0-0. Students created 13 different logos for the master plan. The master plan steering committee chose a first and second place and ultimately chose the winner. Ms. Abadi would like a thank you written on town letterhead to the high school students that participated in creating the logo. The meeting adjourned at 9:35 p.m.
The Select Board voted to support a project sponsored by the Walpole Historical Commission and Historical Society to install informational signs on public buildings. Here's more.
There's a mini essay on the sign. You're standing in front of some building or site and you get a little history from it. And we don't have that whole lot in Walpole. We got the idea as maybe it being a project for the 300th anniversary. The money right now for this pilot project is coming from money donated in memory of Roger Turner Jr. I'm going to get teary-eyed here, sorry, but he would have loved this.
I move to support the historical sign project and approve request to work in conjunction with the DPW to install the signs once the locations have been approved by the building department.
Second.
So a motion and a second. I'll do a roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Glenn? Ben?
Aye.
Mark? Aye. The motion passes. Thank you, Betsy, for bringing this forward.
At a later meeting, the board voted to award over $100,000 to TAP A Architects to conduct a Walpole High School feasibility study that was put on hold during the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're requesting an appropriation here for $138,250. You may recall that just before COVID, we had an appropriation of $400,000 through town meeting for a feasibility study of the Walpole High School, basically to study the building, figure out if we needed an addition onto there or a renovated space onto there, and if so, where should we put that? You may recall that TAP A is the same firm that we're working with on the middle school project. They're familiar with us. They've been with us for a few years now. I'm pleased with that, obviously. They know how we work here. They know how our purchasing system works, our PO system. They know the key town officials here in town.
If anybody listening has questions or concerns, I mean, they can reach out to me or any other select board members, and we can attempt to answer them. But again, we're exploring the possibilities related to the high school. It's a prudent thing to do. And again, it's a multi-year process. So, here we are in the early stages, and I think it's going in the right direction.
Motion to award RFQ number 2022-09, Walpole High School feasibility study to TAPE Architects in the amount of $138,250, and authorize the town administrator to sign the contract and all related documents.
Seconded.
To a motion and a second, I'll do a roll call vote. Ben?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And Mark? Aye.
Further developments have been made on construction plans for the middle school building project. The school building committee has met twice recently to hear from architects working on the plans.
We had a senior district leadership meeting a few weeks ago where we discussed the special education classrooms. We kind of made a few revisions based on the previous meetings that we had. On the first and second floors, let me zoom out, there we go. They decided to add a connecting door to connect the two SPED classrooms so there can be more production in between the classrooms and help if needed. The building, we discussed how it'll be solar ready, it'll have conduit to the roof, and we'll also be including space for inverters and anything else that we need into the mechanical and electrical spaces. We've got more building signage here with the Walpole Middle School. As we zoom out here, to the left, we have the admin suite. We've got above that, the media center and guidance suite above that.
So we'll be looking at carpet throughout the admin areas and then also in the auditorium. So the flooring in the auditorium is carpet, except for directly under the seats in the auditorium, that is concrete.
At their January 19th meeting, the Zoning Board of Appeals denied a modified application from the Wall Street Development Corporation for their controversial proposal on Darwin Lane.
As the board requested from the last meeting that we had, the continuance, that they requested us to provide a conceptual plan of what our proposed modification to the application would be for 12 single-family homes in place of the 28 townhouses that were originally proposed on the site.
Attorney Murphy stated in his letter that safe harbor applies to a particular project, and I quote, "Once invoked, upheld, and not appealed, it cannot be revisited." So my question is to this board, why are we going forward with this?
They're proposing that you go forward and hear it despite safe harbor being upheld by DHCD, hear it as a 40B, and act on it.
Who wants the board to make a deal at 12 units? Raise your hands. Who would like the board to hold firm in its safe harbor invocation and make the applicant prove the 28-unit project that's in front of the board? Thank you. This is the very first time ever that a board has prevailed on safe harbor from DHCD, ever.
We are not suggesting you approve 12. We're suggesting a robust hearing on 12 with a discussion back and forth on the kinds of things that this board does well.
I don't think Walpole should be the first town that tries to modify a decision that's already been made, that the people within the community who live there very strongly oppose this.
So my hope was that we would, see something that might be more palatable, thinking that that there is a significant risk of a larger project at this location in the future, whether that's this April, a year from April, who knows when that might be.
All those in favor of denying the project because of safe harbor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay.
At a later meeting, the board moved to continue a public hearing to allow a special permit for a 3-story, 10-unit mixed-use residential development within a business zoning district after residents living near the High Plains Street and Washington Street intersection raised a number of traffic safety concerns in response to the proposal. Here's more.
We see one use-related issue for the zoning board to consider, which is noted as follows.
The proposed project driveway will currently allow traffic to exit onto High Plains Street, Route 27, in either direction. Traffic exiting to the left will cross the double yellow line and/or the pavement marking Gore area and enter the weaving zone where traffic splits into 2 lanes for the traffic signal at Washington Street. This is generally not allowed. The board could require a traffic assessment for this issue and/or limit access to the right in and out.
I don't think a traffic study is going to tell us anything we don't already know. The reality is that this use is not going to generate a lot of traffic.
Quite honestly, as a father of 3 children, and my children attend that school, there's a lot of safety issues I'm very concerned about with traffic there.
In that 50-some years, the traffic we never thought it would be anywhere near it is.
So right now, even if I go to visit my sister, I cannot get out from her parking lot. There are multiple times I have to wait for the light to change. So there is that intersection is very dangerous.
I understand something has to be put on that property because it's an eyesore now and something's going to go there. But I'm really not sure that 10 more family homes or families, I suppose, could be stuck into that small space.
I'd like to see a traffic study personally. I think it's important to not only reassure the board of the numbers and the current situation, but it sounds like a lot of the concerns of the abutters would be answered as well. Voting on this continuance will be Mark and Tim, along with the regular members, Dave and Bob and myself, to continue the hearing. It's been seconded, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No.
Next, I sat down for an exclusive interview with Town Administrator Jim Johnson, where we discussed his role in local government and his hopes for Walpole's future. Can you start by telling me a little bit about what it is the Town Administrator does in Walpole?
The Town Administrator is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the town. I ultimately report to the Select Board, who run the operations for the town, but ultimately everything kind of falls back to me day-to-day, and then a big policy type of decisions the board makes. So it's been a fun experience. I've learned a lot from it. I've been in Walpole now almost 18 years. My kids go to school here. My wife works in town also, and we really like it here. It's a great community. That's one of the reasons why we decided to settle down here.
Before you were appointed as Town Administrator, you're quoted as saying, "I've recognized that I don't know it all, and I'm always willing to learn." Can you tell me about an important lesson that you've learned during your time as Town Administrator?
Well, I look back to really the last 2-3 years. None of us saw COVID coming, and something that government wasn't very good at the time was changing and being able to adapt on the fly from one day to the other. We always had strict open meeting law rules. We always had town meeting has to be held at such and such date, the first Monday in May or the third Monday in October. And all of that really went out the window. We had to figure out how to continue to allow the town to operate day to day, get the tax bills out, get the water bills out, continue to supply water to our residents, make sure that septic systems were inspected, and that the public works and public safety was able to function. So we were able to really adapt and change on the fly, and that's something that really comes back to COVID, and no one saw it coming. We had to learn how to do Zoom meetings, and now we conduct a lot of town business virtually, and it's really I don't want to say it's been a blessing in disguise, but it's been something that's made us change the way we approach business here, not only in Walpole but across the Commonwealth.
And on that note, are there any aspects of Walpole's local government where you would like to see some form of improvement?
I don't think it's limited to just local government, but I'd like to see more community involvement. I think losing the Walpole Times when I first came here almost 18 years ago was must-read newspaper each week. The editorial section was very interesting each week, and especially leading up to town meeting and the town election every June. Everyone had something to say, and since we've lost that, I know we share it with Sharon, but there's not much local coverage there. And I think that's important that we get some of that back. I think it'll get more people involved,
And recently I've worked with Tamara Green, the executive director here, and Chair Kenny on the Walpole Media Corp board to try to involve Walpole Media Corp and the town, bring us together so we can get at least some local coverage so people can go and learn a little bit about what's going on in Walpole.
Can you tell me what it is about Walpole that makes you most proud to serve as town administrator?
Walpole chose me and I chose Walpole. It's been a great community to raise my kids in. It's been a great community to live in. And I think one of the most rewarding things I see is I get to drive around town now, whether I be at coaching football on the weekends with my son or coaching basketball with my daughter in the winter, and just walking through these buildings and really seeing it's kind of the fruits of our labor that we've invested in all this time since I've been here. The town's been wise the way we've budgeted and created our building infrastructure going forward. You know, it took the town 50+ years to begin to address some of the buildings. We're doing that. We've finished for the most part the town side. We've moved on to the school side. It's just rewarding to see all those projects go from plans to actual structures. So it's been enjoyable. I like this town. I don't plan on going anywhere. I have a great board, select board to work with, and I'm fortunate to be here. So I'm appreciative of that.
The new investment club at Walpole High School gives students a hands-on lesson about how to maximize their savings through the stock market. Walpole Media's Andrew Gibson has more on that story.
The investment club is run by two WHS seniors, William Blakely and Matthew Burns.
Matt actually came forward to me and said, hey, I think you should check out the stock market. I think I see investing as an opportunity. You can start with $100 and turn it into $1,000.
When COVID first hit over quarantine, I always was somewhat interested in it, but I really took it upon myself to look into it and really do some research, and I was really passionate about it, and I was really interested in just looking into like the stock prices and everything that goes into it, and I started talking to some friends about it, including Will, and there was a lot of other kids that were interested in knowing how it works.
Paula Fontaine, the WHS business teacher, also manages the club.
I think everyone needs to save in different ways, just not in a savings account, but also in investment accounts. It earns a little bit more money than just savings. A lot of kids are interested, they want to learn, they like to research different companies. I know a lot of people are really scared about putting their money. They think it's gambling, but it really isn't.
The club aims to raise understanding about investing and to provide members with a relaxing environment to discuss the topic.
I like to see a lot of kids join, a lot more kids. I like to see a lot more girls join because I think investing is just not a male thing or a female thing. I think in order for us to be financially connected, I think we all have to be able to invest.
There's no reason someone should feel uncomfortable coming forward and saying, hey, I want to learn about this. It's kind of portrayed as this big, complex thing, only professionals know, but it's really, once you have it broken down, it's really something interesting that anybody can get into.
From Walpole Media, I am Andrew Gibson.
One of Walpole's oldest traditions is making a comeback. The 36th annual Friends of St. Patrick's Day Luncheon is scheduled to take place this March. I spoke with the organization's president, Donnell Murphy, and 2020 Person of the Year, Jim Brady, for more.
Well, this year's luncheon is going to be a little bit different than the previous years. The last live one that we were supposed to have was in 2020, and we had to cancel at the last minute due to the COVID situation. And on that one, we had 1,000 tickets sold, which, it was a great turnout for that event. And unfortunately, we had to cancel it just the day before. And then through COVID, we were able to to kind of keep funds coming in, to keep going with our mission of supporting people in need in the local area. We held a virtual live raffle last year, which was pretty successful. So this year is going to be the first year that we're going to be back in person. And unfortunately, we lost our usual venue, which was Ambrosia's on Route 1 in Foxborough. And now we've ended up at Lake Pearl Rentham, which has a seating capacity of 610. So coming from 1,000 with everything going on, we still think we'll probably be able to fill the room with 600 people, and we're looking forward to it. It's a charity event that's there to raise money. we really focus on the people that are in need in the town of Walpole and surrounding towns. Once in a while we'll give to a national organization, but most of it is kept here local and given to people in need. And a lot of the recipients that we get don't know that we're giving, and a lot of recipients that are looking for these type of services don't want recognition for it as well.
It will be a lot of fun. It's so much fun every year. It's a good way to celebrate St. Patrick himself, of course, and more importantly, to spread goodwill and cheer throughout the community, and that's what it's all about. I was thrilled when they asked me to become the Person of the Year, and it's just a wonderful honor, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with my wife, Mary Jane, and my family will all be there, and it'll be a fun celebration. The luncheon is really a celebration of the community and the idea of helping one another, and that's really how it started.
Everyone is excited about getting back to it and getting back to supporting the cause of the Friends of St. Patrick's. I mean, it's been a long hiatus, shall we say, with COVID and everything, but I think everybody's interested in moving forward with it, and hopefully the event will be a successful event as it always has been in the past.
Skating at Turner Pond was once again a top choice outdoor activity this winter season, thanks to the members of the Walpole Pond Management Committee. These volunteers have dedicated countless hours to maintain the outdoor space and provide the community with daily updates regarding ice safety and lodge hours.
Every day before we open, we drill a series of holes. We go around the whole entire area that we have boxed off. As you'll see, there's a big pink box painted, and we'll go around and test maybe 5 or 6 holes and make sure that we're at 5 inches all around. If it's 5 inches all around, we know that within it, we're safe to skate. The best way to test the thickness of the ice is you want to use a small drill bit. This is only 1 inch. If you go any bigger, now you're going to worry about ice skates. With the 1 inch, now you drill a hole, within a half an hour, it's frozen again. And then we take this stick, we go right in the ice with it, and that'll tell you exactly how thick the ice is. We just set this up like a regular ruler. The committee got very active in 2010. There was always 4 people on it for years, don't get me wrong. And they worked on some weed treatments here and there on the ponds and stuff like that. But when I came on in 2010, we got a full committee of 7 people, and then we really started to take over some stuff. I grew up fishing on all these ponds my whole life, and when the opportunity came up, I just had to jump at it. I love being outside, I love the water, the skating aspect of it, and opening this building here. My daughter's 16 now. She learned how to skate here at 5, so that's pretty exciting.
As always, more on all of these stories can be found on our YouTube channel. For Walpole News Today, I'm Jessica Kurgo.
And I'm Pete O'Farrell. We'll see you next time.